Hello and welcome to a new episode with my Volvo 240 with the mid-engine V10 engine. As you can see, the engine here is in pieces, and despite what happened with the break-in and idiots stealing parts from my build here, I'm continue working with what I have, what I still have, and I still have the engine, so that's a good thing. And I still continue with the plans what I was thinking to do this winter. So I'm repairing the engine that got broken, the broken valve. I have the engine block here, and I have cylinder sleeves here from LA Sleeve in US. So much thank you for LA Sleeve for wanting to be a part of this project and helping me out with some sleeves. I'm gonna install them here, and I'm trying to install them in this CNC machine. A little bit too small, but I think maybe it will work. I will try to do it. And also I have two big chunks of aluminum here. Can you guess what I'm gonna do with this? Just draw something up in Fusion 360. So in this video it will be V10 work, some modification work, and building a strong V10 for twin turbo. So I have been milling here, and what is this going to be? It's actually going to be torque plates for the engine when boring these ones. And yeah, stress plate, it's the Swedish name for it, but torque plate. I actually had two torque plates here for a Lamborghini, but it's for the 5-liter engine, and it has the distance between the cylinders a little bit less than what a 5.2 liter. And also I think these are 2 millimeters smaller, 82 millimeters or 82 half, and it's 84 half in the 5.2 Lamborghini and Audi R8 engine. So a lot of chips in the machine here. I think this is the most hogging I ever done with this one, and I'm using these ones 3 flute 20 millimeters, pretty big one. Thank you Boris for providing me with some good quality tools. Nice here for hogging out some aluminium. This torque plate is something I'm going to use in a couple of ways. When the sleeves is installed into the block, I will press them down when the engine is still hot after heating the block up, when I will press the sleeves in. And it's very important, even when you're heating the engine, if you're putting in a hot wash for example, to have like torque plates or cylinder heads on. These sleeves with different material getting hot and warm, they can creep up a little bit, so it's very important for that one. And also the thing, these torque plates, it is that their job is to simulate the cylinder head, so when you're honing and boring the cylinder, then the material in the block would be like the state when the engine is running with the cylinder heads on. And I don't know how important it is with this one, because it's separate sleeves, but it's never a bad thing to have it. I know some is not using stress plates when honing or boring engines, and it's working fine as well, but some engines is more sensitive than others. But of course I want to make this engine as good as possible, so of course I make some torque plates. And as you can see, it's only 4 cylinders here, because my CNC mill here, it's a little bit too small with the travels from X travel here left to the right. So I will now move this one a little bit and probe it here, and then mill the last cylinder there. So this machine is not made for jobs like this, it's made for a little bit smaller jobs, but because I have the machine, I want to do it myself, and instead of sending the job out for someone else. No fancy milling this, just some boring out here, some clearing, and holes for the bolts. And generally this is the thing, when you're torquing the head bolts, it's quite some high torque, and when torquing you can see the threads are like in the cylinder here, and then it makes the cylinder, if it's round now and torquing it, it will not be round when it's torqued. The material near the threads could deform. I don't know how much it makes in this block, but some engine blocks that is the case. one thing I have done that I have put in a lot of hours into, I think maybe over 100 hours into that one, maybe up to 200 hours in like December and the beginning of January before the break-in, is the wiring of the car, cleaning up the wiring. It's still messy, but I have removed a lot of wires, removed a lot of like units. It was fuses here in the middle of the car and wires. Now there is no wires in the middle of the car, and clean up some units here. It was fuses and relays here. That one is removed, all of them. Now it's PDM, all of the fuses in the car or circuit breakers. It is still not finished and it's still a bit messy, but I moved some stuff around. This is for the front wheel drive. It was in the front before, so I have removed a lot of wiring and units that I do not think I'm gonna need. And I'm still not finished, as you can see here. I'm not proud of the wiring at all. Hopefully one day, when everything is sorted, I will do a really nice wiring harness into this car, like in motorsport specifications. But for example, I hope to remove some items someday. The ABS unit, when I had to get the gearbox working, I just installed it here with an strap around it there. Now I did not like that location, so I hid it a little bit down here, made a proper bracket for it, so now it's down there. It's keeping the wheel speeds and sending it to the gearbox, for example, and also the brake pressure. So a lot of small wires removed. Here is some still fuses, but cleaned it up here. No wires going in here. It was full of wires going into this side before. In this side it was a lot of wires as well. Had the pedals out to get access to all of the wires there and remove them. So yeah, a lot more clean now, but it's not something you see. It took a lot of hours to do it, but yeah, I really enjoy to work on the wires, look in the wiring diagrams, and figure out how stuff works and what needed and what not. I was not planning to remove as much as I did, but when I started I was just going on and going on, so I did not really take any before pictures. Maybe I have some before pictures and you can see some after, but small steps to get the car where I want to have it. I actually got a new engine here for my racing program, and it is the Lamborghini V10 engine here, and this one is unfortunately damaged as well, but it's good. I think it's many parts on this one that I can use still, and the thing is, I think it's pretty similar failure that I had in my engine, number 7 cylinder. One of the valves here is broken and it's stuck in the other hole here. It's broken. It's, I think, almost the same place as my number 2 cylinder in my original engine, and you can see also here that the cylinder is heavily damaged. So the block is damaged in this one and at least one cylinder head. But I think there's still a lot of good parts. Hopefully this head is good, I don't know. And hopefully I can also use this block to put some sleeves in and use it for maybe a spare engine for my build here in the future. So we will tear this apart and look the condition for it. I think this have not so many miles on it, and it's a little bit more modern engine with this damper here plate on the oil cooler, for example. So why working with an engine, you might say, when The most important is to get the gearbox for my car, and I already have an engine. But this engine actually was scrapped one, or it was replaced in a workshop, and it was going for scrap. So it was not worth much for them, but for me I think this could be worth much if I'm doing putting steel cylinder sleeves in. Hopefully I can use some of the parts. And I think the same thing happened to this engine that happened to mine with a dropped valve, but it looks a little bit worse. Look at this piston. It has been party in this cylinder for a long time, I would guess. And comparison, I thought it took a long time for me to turn off the engine when I heard the sound. This is what my piston looked like, and this is the piston here. And you can also see the thing that happens when the valve goes is that the material goes into other cylinders through the intake as well. So there is some damage on other cylinders here, and I think there is debris into the crankcase area as well. So I will see how it looks like when taking the pan off here. Could not see any debris here, and everything looking nice. So far oil in the heads as well. The heads, by the way, you can see them. This is head on the other side, and we can see a little bit marks here, so it has been debris even here. And in this cylinder I could not get the injector out, direct injector, and this is looking really bad here in this cylinder, number 7 in this one. And the neighboring cylinders as well, because when it's fully open here and the piston moves up and down, it shoots all of this material to the other cylinders. And I think that, yeah, maybe one valve broke, maybe this one, same as or similar to what mine did, and then yeah, I think the engine was running for some time, and then it broke another valve and another valve. So all the 4 valves is gone there, and one here. So I think actually the engine could run like this, but not on all cylinders now, because it's not interfering anymore after it has been modified like this. So we'll see. Otherwise, looking pretty fresh, this engine. This is a little newer one, so it has some other things I have not seen in mine. I did not have this valve here and this sensor. I have to figure out what this is and take it apart. So it's a little bit interesting with some more newer pieces here. We have the water pump here and oil pump. I will take it apart and see if that is good, or if I can take some of the parts from it. So I will tear this apart and see what is good and not, but I'm not putting in too much time into that one. It's more time to build a new engine and, yeah, try to work on the car. But just a little bit of a side thing here, and thank you very much, one of the viewers on my channel that contacted me and told that this engine was available before it was going to scrap. Otherwise it would have gone into the scrap metal for the, yeah, just the metal price. After the short season I had the car running, I have a to-do list, and I have been doing a lot of those, rectified a lot of those things. One thing is that I installed during last summer one of these. It's the Cyvex 100 Hertz GPS, but when I connected this one, the dash, now I have removed the ECU here, so everything is 0, should be, but then all the temps, oil temp, engine temp, and the battery voltage goes to 0. And I found out that these are on the CAN bus address 649, and I have removed everything now here on the CAN bus system, and I actually found that 649 in the documentation from Cyvex, it doesn't say it sends anything there, but I could see that it sends all out 0, so it's disturbing the Motec data. And now if we start it here, 0 messages, so it's not sending anything out at all. Connecting this one, now it's receiving messages, and yeah, I can disconnect. It stopped. Yep, so this is just some troubleshooting. Find what information on what address goes out, and see what kind of unit disturbs this data, and it is this Cyvex. So I will send it back to Ryan there at Cyvex and say that you're sending something strange on your CAN bus. Here is the documentation, and could not see 649 or anything here. So we'll talk a little bit more about this GPS in the future, but it's one thing I will try to use for position data, because this is four-wheel drive. All four-wheel drives could spin, so it could be good to have a fast GPS for that data into the ECU. New firmware into this GPS box, and now it is working good. The temperatures is correct there. Yeah, they're not correct because of not all of the sensors on the engine, but it's not disturbed by this anymore. And this is also an IMU, I would say like an IRS inertial reference system. So this one also feels the movement of the car. Just another thing about the Cyvex. This one also should report the differential front temperature. It says about this product, but it did not do that. I want to know the temperature because I'm playing around with the four-wheel drive there. But also have to send this to Cyvex, and they, even if I think they have sold many of these, but maybe I'm a little bit different user and want everything to be as it should. And I put some new firmware from them into this one as well, and now it's reporting a temperature to the Motec, so I can log it, and hopefully I can have it on the dash here as well. So just some small things to make this all as I want. I thought I would get a little bit longer in this episode with the engine and maybe bore it out, but I'm still waiting for my boring bar tool for this one. So this will be in a later episode. And I'm also trying to figure out how I should do it. I got some good guidelines from LA Sleeve how to install the sleeves, but it is also up to the user how you want to do it, and also how you're going to use the engine. For example, the interference fit, I'm thinking about 2 to 3 hundredths of a millimeter. So the hole here will be smaller than the sleeve here, and I will heat it in the oven, the block in the oven, and then put the sleeves in here. And also one other thing is the protrusion over the deck height here, if the sleeves should be in the same height or if they should be a little bit up. I'm thinking about maybe have a little bit of protrusion. It would be nice to just use the stock head gasket and the studs if the pressure will be held into the cylinders. There's possible to have some O-rings and stuff like that, but if possible I want to skip that for now. Maybe in the future I will need that. I'm not sure, so I'm trying to investigate what needed maybe, and maybe I do not get all that information, so I have to test it out myself. But I want to do it as serviceable as possible, so I do not have to deck the head every time I remove the head, for example. And this is a stock head gasket. It is a multi-layer steel gasket that I usually have good success to get rid some head cylinder studs there. And if I have a bit of protrusion, it will be more pressure around the cylinder, so it will seal better. The problem is if the protrusion is too much, that this sleeve is too much higher, it can leak in the water and oil channels, for example. So that is maybe good for a drag car that is not a very big problem, but for a street car it can be a little bit more problem. So yeah, a bit of things to consider there. If you have any good ideas for these kind of alusil engines, bear in mind this is not a billet block, it's alusil, so it could be a little bit different. Yeah, let me know. Other than that, thank you so much everybody that gave me super thanks on my latest videos, and also all of you that bought merchandise on busbil.com, my page for merchandise for this car. So check it out there, and everything I earn from that will go into the car to build it up. Absolutely. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye bye.